Welcome to PTI. Wilbon and I will get to the conference championship games in a bit. But we begin today with the sad news that Henry Aaron has passed away at age 86. Aaron is one of the greatest players in the history of baseball. His 715th home run in 1974 pushed him past Babe Ruth as the all-time home run king. Aaron accumulated more runs batted in, more extra base hits, and more total bases than any player ever. He has the third most hits as well. He played a total of 23 seasons, 21 with the Braves in Milwaukee and Atlanta, and his last two with the Milwaukee Brewers. Wilbon, you knew Hank Aaron. What are your immediate thoughts?
Well, Tony, my first thought was at the beginning. My father hated the Cubs. He was a South Side guy, a Bill Veeck guy, but I wanted to go to Wrigley Field. My brother and I wanted to go to Wrigley Field to see the Cubs the summer of '69 when they were having, to be ruined later, a magical summer. And my father said, we go under one condition. We go see the Braves, we'll go see Henry Aaron. My father's a Georgia boy. So we went to see the Braves and Henry Aaron against the Cubs, and Henry Aaron hit a home run that day. I'll never forget it because Wrigley Field was like eons away, 8 miles away from Comiskey, but it felt like light years. And I watched Henry Aaron like you did. We watched him from afar our whole lives. And he wasn't a childhood hero for me. He became an adult hero because of Jerry Reinsdorf, Bud Selig, first of all, and Jerry Reinsdorf and Frank Robinson. I got invited to the Civil Rights game. And that became an enormous deal for Major League Baseball, not just the game, but the events attendant to it. And because of that, I got to be seated with and hang around with Henry Aaron. And to hear him talk and to tell stories, and he knew my father was from Georgia, and he wanted to know what my father was like and what he conveyed to me, him being from Alabama. And what sticks with me to this day and will forevermore is Henry Aaron talking about, Bob Costas talked about this eloquently today, Henry Aaron looking up in the sky one day and telling his dad, I want to be a pilot. And his father saying, son, there ain't no black pilots. And Henry Aaron said, well, I want to be a big league. I want to be a big league ball player. And Henry Aaron's dad saying to him, Henry, there ain't any black big leaguers either. And he was 13 years old, I think Henry Aaron was, when Jackie Robinson broke in with the Dodgers. And his world just expanded, and he talked about that. And as I sat listening to him, and this is at Bud Selig's house one of these occasions, it just struck me that Henry Aaron was never bitter. I'm bitter every damn day. I'm a part of it. I'm bitter. I'm angry. Henry Aaron wasn't. And it was amazing. He never directed it. And we talked about that, the ability to control emotions and how he had to do that when he was coming up. And it just, I feel unbelievably lucky that through Bud Selig, he invited me. Sometimes he'd just be in their kitchen. And Sue would, probably want to throw us out, but she let us listen to Henry Aaron. And you know how close Bud Selig and Henry Aaron, they're the best of friends. And I feel for Bud Selig today, the people of Milwaukee, Charles Barkley, who idolized Henry Aaron being another son of Alabama. And it's just more awful news. But I idolize him as an adult, not as a child.
So I have read about all the terrible mail and death threats and hatred that poured out of people towards him when he was chasing Babe Ruth. You've read about it. I've read about it. I have read that he found it extraordinarily stressful, that chase. And I have felt that he was an American hero for the way he handled that he was the right person at the right time for that, in the same way that Jackie Robinson was the right person at the right time for integrating baseball. When I think immediately of Hank Aaron, I think of the video of 7:15. I think of him rounding second and rounding third, and those kids running out and trying to pat him on the back. And I think that in the history of American sports, Mike, in the whole history of American sports, that is one of the most joyful, most memorable video clips that anyone can ever remember. And the second thing I think about with Hank Aaron is consistency. I never thought of him as a power hitter in the way that Reggie Jackson was a power hitter. He didn't hit tape measure shots. He never even hit 50. But he went 40 or better 8 different times, including when he was 39 years old. And he went 30 or better 7 different times. So for 15 seasons, he was between 30 and 50 home runs. And that consistency and that durability is absolutely amazing. One small statistic, When he was 39 years old, Mike, he batted .301. He had 40 homers and 96 RBI, which is great. Great for 39. He only played in 120 games that year. Just 120 games. So he's one of the greats. I will just get personal for a second. I'm a New York boy. I rooted for Willie Mays. Willie Mays was my idol in all of sports. And because of that, I appreciated Mickey Mantle. These were these two great young phenoms in New York at the same time. They were fast, they had power, they were defenders, they were great. Hank Aaron, to me, was not Willie Mays and not Mickey Mantle. But at the end of it, Mike, at the end of it, he had a higher batting average. He had more home runs. He had more RBIs. He was greater in his way. He was.
You can make the argument, I always make it that Mays is the greatest player of all time because he missed 2 years in military service. So he didn't have that.
Yeah.
But Tony, I know you feel this way. I don't know we talked about it in years. Henry Aaron's the home run champ to us. Henry Aaron's the home run champ. 755 is the number.
That's it.
And
not 762. Nope.
No, I don't even know what the other numbers are. I don't know what Bonds ended up with. I don't care. Henry Aaron's the home run champ. And he is like, I believe what you believe. He's an American hero. When I talked about no bitterness, I was referring to the chase of Ruth. And I know somewhere, I don't know that hate mail was incinerated. I don't know that anyone ever got rid of it. It might be piled somewhere. It might be sitting in bags by somebody's door. But I know that Henry Aaron could talk flatly about it and maintain that dignity and that poise and that calm. Don't know where he got it. I mean, it's partly developed, I'm sure, from the cauldron he grew up in and partly God-given. But he was just an extraordinary person. And I don't think of the home run. I don't. Maybe I've had enough personal moments in the last 10 years right here in the desert where Bud Selig lives. And to hear those conversations, they've replaced action shots and uniforms and jerseys for me.
So what I remember is when the National League in the 50s and the 60s, when I came to appreciate baseball and love baseball, the National League dominated the American League. And I think it's because they chased black and Latin players harder than the American League. And I think because Jackie Robinson played in Brooklyn, a National League team, maybe these people were more inclined to go play in the National League. But every year at the All-Star game, the National League outfield was always the same. You could write it in January, and it was going to happen in the middle of July. It was Aaron, Mays, Clemente. Aaron, Mays, Clemente. And I used to think to myself, that's the greatest, even for one game, even for 4 innings, it's the greatest of all time. All right? Yeah. So anyway, one small little thing. My grandson is named Henry. I always call him Bad Henry or the Hammer. And everybody over 50 in America knows exactly who you're talking about when you say Bad Henry. Let's take a break. Coming up, now that Patrick Mahomes has been cleared, what are the Bills' chances to upset the champs?
And the Buccaneers put a beat down on the Packers back in week 6. But what do we expect from them on
More headlines, starting with Sunday's conference championship games. Patrick Mahomes says he is out of the concussion protocol and he has been cleared to play. So with that development, Wilbon, what sort of a chance are you giving the Bills to upset the defending champions?
I mean, even with a completely healthy Patrick Mahomes, I'm still giving the Bills, I don't know, a 40% chance. I don't think this is going to be some runaway blowout thing. The Bills are good. And the other thing, Tony, okay, so he's been cleared. His head's been cleared to be out there with a helmet on and be in the game. What about his foot? I mean, people have said nary a word about the toe. I think on his left foot, which is the plant foot if you're throwing, or the plant foot if you're leaning off to run right, which he often does, getting out of bounds or down that right sideline. So I don't know how healthy Patrick Mahomes is. Is he 100%? Is he 80%? Is he 60%? Is he going to be Hop-Along Cassidy? What's the deal? But I still give Buffalo, regardless, I give Buffalo a shot, yes, at winning this game.
Yeah, so, I mean, the narrative is all about Mahomes. Would he play at all? Now you find he's going to play. How well will he play? Will he finish the game? I think if Patrick Mahomes is out there for 60 minutes and he's even 80% of Patrick Mahomes, I think that the Chiefs are good enough to win. I look at the Bills. They're a wonderful story. I don't know what their offense is. I don't know how they score. Stephon Diggs gets them into the end zone. I don't know what else they necessarily do. They've got a great defense. They shredded Lamar Jackson. But Patrick Mahomes is different than Lamar Jackson. He throws a lot better, and he's got, Hill and Kelsey to throw to,
baby.
and maybe Edwards-Helaire is going to play. So, Mike, I think there's more offense there for Kansas City. I even toyed with the notion if Chad Henne played that they could still win. It's not that I don't love Buffalo. I just don't know how they score. I don't know how they score.
I don't think they have to. I know people are predicting a shootout. People are saying, in dry circumstances, it's going to be 38-35. I don't know that.
No.
I don't know that.
No.
I think Buffalo has got enough on both sides of the ball to keep this thing close. Keep it close. They have to steal it. Kansas City's better. Kansas City's a better team. Kansas City's defending champion. All that. But I'm expecting a real game. Sunday's early game features Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers, of course, meeting in the playoffs for the very first time. They matched up in Tampa in Week 6 with the Buccaneers rolling 38-10. But the Packers haven't lost in 2 months, and this one is in Green Bay and Lambeau, which expects 2 to 4 inches of overnight snow Saturday into Sunday. Tone, which way you leaning?
I just want to start by saying that if Tampa wins this game, Tom Brady is going to his 10th Super Bowl. This is an unbelievable number. He's 43 years old, and he would take a team to the Super Bowl, and it would be his 10th. All right? The way I look at the game is that Week 6 game is important because Aaron Rodgers was bad in that game. He had 2 interceptions. He was sacked 4 times. It was his worst game of the year. New Orleans tried to beat Tampa for 3 straight times, and they weren't able to do it. So I don't think that even 38 points in a row, being down 10-0, I don't think that works now. I don't think it works now. The way I'm sitting here, I lean towards Green Bay, Mike. I think that Aaron Rodgers is absolutely at the top of his profession, and I think they've got enough running and passing. I lean towards Green Bay.
Yeah, I wonder if Tampa's defense can play as well in Lambeau as it did last week in the Superdome. That's what I wonder about. That defense was great. No. The linebackers and the third level of defense, the safeties and corners, they were spectacular. Are they going to play that way again? And I think that Rodgers will be better than Drew Brees was in that game. And like you, Tony, I think the biggest advantage Green Bay has is knowing how they got their butts whipped 38-10 in Week 6. And, the question is Tampa, I don't think that Tampa with Tom Brady on that sideline will be as arrogant as I thought the Saints were coming in with 2 straight wins. I don't think that Tampa will make that mistake, but it's still an advantage for Green Bay in my book. So like you, I am leaning toward Green Bay, realizing that any picking against Tom Brady just blasphemy. It's just, it's nuts.
Yeah. And I will say this, I think Antonio Brown has been ruled out, and that makes it a little bit more difficult for Tampa. If there's going to be a shootout, I believe this is going to be the shootout, and it seems reasonable to me, Mike, that if there's one great late defensive stand by either team, that could be the game winner. That could be the game winner right there. Let us take one last break. Still to come, one of Brooklyn's big 3 won't play tonight in the Nets rematch with the Cavs.
Oh, that must be planned. It can't be what happened last week. And is it time for people like Anthony Kornheiser to start taking the Jazz seriously?
But not in January. And I like them, but not in January.
Yeah.
We don't use the word seriously in January for basketball.
You only got 3 more.
Green was yelling at him. Green was yelling at James Wiseman, his teammate. Refs admitted they got it wrong at halftime, but Green was still ejected. He told Marcus Spears, the undefeated, that should be something that can be overturned. Refs overturn calls all the time. Clinton, should that be something that can be overturned?
I think it should be something that should be overturned, but in general, I really hope this is not what the Warriors are getting back to. We all know Draymond's specific reputation, but also back when KD was there, they were having issues with this. Please don't go back to that. Just play basketball, guys. You guys are fun to watch.
I'm selling that because you don't have the mechanics in place in the NBA to overturn an ejection. They should, though, suspend the referee for a couple of games, and they should take it off Green's record. it shouldn't count as an ejection. That's the only way you
Suspend
can
the
handle it.
referee for a mistake. Tim Callister, where are you on that?
I think they should interview the referee. I think it's more than just overturn. If you're not even sure he's yelling at you, you're calling technically, well, I thought you were yelling at me. If you don't know that, keep your whistle in your mouth. It should be blatant disrespect when a referee has to call a technical foul.
Yeah, it should be overturned because the accumulation of those kind of things can affect you later in the season, but it also shouldn't be called in the first place. If he's not up in your face and you don't know he's talking to you, then you should not be worried about it. Keep the game moving.
Lakers 113, Bucks 106. Possible NBA Finals, but Milwaukee's got to pick it up. They lost last night to drop them to 9-6. Tim, do the Bucks seem like the same team, a different team, a struggling team to get over the hump?
They seem like the same team, and not so much the Brooklyn game the other night. That was a last-second shot, could go either way. But Giannis's frustration when he can't get through a defense, when a good defensive team, puts up some sort of wall. He had 9 turnovers, most he's ever had last night. That looks like stuff we've seen in the playoffs.
Yeah, same team. We're going to shut down the paint, and unfortunately, we're going to let you shoot from outside. That doesn't work in today's NBA, and Giannis is going to get his inside, and who's the shooter, who's the closer, we still don't know with this team.
See why?
Yeah, but I'm not going to judge a team like the Bucks or really any team in the NBA when they're playing against the Los Angeles Lakers, who are head and shoulders above every other squad in the league. KCP is on a torrid streak from 3. Giannis could barely even get to the free throw.
Okay, but the goal is for them to win a championship. They may have to play the Lakers when they compete for the championship.
My point is, in a spot situation, I'm not looking about anybody in terms of how they play against the Lakers, because the Lakers are crushing everybody.
Woody Page.
Well, Tony, that goal may have to be realized a year or two down the line, but I was not that depressed by what I saw last night. I think Holiday's made a real difference to that. When you've got 3 guys scoring over 20 points in a game, that means they've got a good trio. We talked about trios on the show a week ago. That is a damn good trio in those 3 guys.
Holiday plus minus last night may have been minus 15. Yeah. Wow. Callister almost passed Yates there in the last seconds. How did that happen? Timmy.
A phantom.
I have no idea what you're talking about. I don't know.
You're calling technically, well, I thought you were yelling at me. If you don't know that, keep your whistle in your mouth. It should be blatant disrespect when a referee has to call a technical foul.
Yeah, it should be overturned because the accumulation of those kind of things can affect you later in the season, but it also shouldn't be called in the first place. If he's not up in your face and you don't know he's talking to you, then you should not be worried about it. Keep the game moving.
Lakers 113, Bucks 106. Possible NBA Finals, but Milwaukee's got to pick it up. They lost last night to drop them to 9-6. Tim, do the Bucks seem like the same team, a different team, a struggling team to get over the hump?
They seem like the same team, and not so much the Brooklyn game the other night. That was a last-second shot, could go either way. But Giannis's frustration when he can't get through a defense, when a good defensive team, puts up some sort of wall. He had 9 turnovers, most he's ever had last night. That looks like stuff we've seen in the playoffs.
Yeah, same team. We're going to shut down the paint, and unfortunately, we're going to let you shoot from outside. That doesn't work in today's NBA, and Giannis is going to get his inside, and who's the shooter, who's the closer, we still don't know with this team.
See why?
Yeah, but I'm not going to judge a team like the Bucks or really any team in the NBA when they're playing against the Los Angeles Lakers, who are head and shoulders above every other squad in the league. KCP is on a torrid streak from 3. Giannis could barely even get to the free throw.
Okay, but the goal is for them to win a championship. They may have to play the Lakers when they compete for the championship.
My point is, in a spot situation, I'm not looking about anybody in terms of how they play against the Lakers, because the Lakers are crushing everybody.
Woody Page.
Well, Tony, that goal may have to be realized a year or two down the line, but I was not that depressed by what I saw last night. I think Holiday's made a real difference to that. When you've got 3 guys scoring over 20 points in a game, that means they've got a good trio. We talked about trios on the show a week ago. That is a damn good trio in those 3 guys.
Holiday plus minus last night may have been minus 15. Yeah. Wow. Callister almost passed Yates there in the last seconds. How did that happen? Timmy.
A phantom.
I have no idea what you're talking about. I don't know.